Got my first client and had no idea how to charge them.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I just spent 4 years in college to learn how to design, but I don't know how to make any money with this.
Hey everyone, it's Kendra Rommel with the Rommel Report. I am so excited about this podcast. I'm sitting in Simply Stunning in La Jolla, California with what started out as a client and quickly became my friend. Also was featured on HGTV's Flip or Flop, Miss Darcy Kempton. Say hi, Darcy.
Hi, thanks Kendra for having me.
I'm excited to share with you all as the audience some exciting and amazing things like what to do when you're doing a flip and or redesigning your own home, how to make it appealing to quickly sell, all the way from design work to staging your home. So I'm excited for you to listen in on this podcast. I hope that you find it as valuable as I think it will be for each of you. So let's start kind of with the basics in terms of what brought you to design.
I think just my natural love for the arts and creativity, and I went to college for it, and I've always kind of been an entrepreneurial spirit. So, right out of college, just kind of decided I wanted to start my own company, and went to work for someone for a little bit, and then I moved to San Diego 10 years ago, started Simply Stunning Spaces, and here we are today. I love what I do. I love helping other people do it, and creating spaces is it's fun. It's fun to do it for homeowners, and then, doing it for investors as well. It's two kind of different ball games, but what I find from doing so many houses that a lot of times, what people want in today's market is there's a lot of similarities.
Right. You've created quite the space. You took a modest home, expanded it, and created the finishing touches. So let's talk about that. When a person walks in and they want to invest in a property and fix it up and flip it, or fix it up and hold it, whatever their investment strategy is, do you have design tips, whether new or experienced?
It always starts with the budget, right? And we got to work backwards from there. When opening up the concept, number one, you've got to get your space plan right. If you mess up on that, it doesn't matter what pretty things you put in there. It's just if it doesn't function and feel and flow, and in today, everybody wants big open spaces. So they want a great room with a kitchen with a big island that's open up to the living room and the dining room. And in Southern California, we want the doors to open up into the outside so that you basically give this perception of perceived larger footprint.
Right.
So that's number one. When it comes down to the finishes and everything, it just kind of depends on the level. If you're going into more of a luxury home or something that's just kind of a quick fixer-upper. If you're on a budget, we do a lot of luxury vinyl that it looks like wood, but it's very inexpensive to purchase and install. And I just tell people don't try to reinvent the wheel and go crazy with things that are maybe super trendy, but you definitely want to be on trend for what people are wanting. Around here, it's just the really light colored natural oak floors.
Right.
And then white cabinets, you kind of can't go wrong with that. And keeping your countertops really light. It's all kind of about light, bright, airy, open. That's gonna also make the space feel bigger.
Yeah.
And with our finishes, everything's kind of a brass or a black or, and silver's kind of timeless.
How much of this, I know budget is obviously the key driver, but also how much of it is geography and where you're buying and how that influences design? What do you think about that being a factor?
It's kind of like fashion, interior design, there's certain cities that people follow. So I feel like being in Southern California or New York, people are kind of following those trends and then they kind of trickle in. It's also, I don't do a ton of work outside of Southern California, so I don't know. But I know it works here and it works very well consistently.
Do you feel that design could be a trap in losing significant margins in a flip?
I do. I've seen some horrible mistakes that it's just what were they thinking? I've seen where people will just paint the existing kitchen cabinets and then spend all this money on new appliances and countertops and backsplash. And it's basically burning money. It's throwing money away. If you walk into a house as a buyer to that home, you're gonna open the cabinets and see that they're old cabinets. You can get like prefab white shaker cabinets and put some really pretty nice hardware on it and make it look like a custom kitchen. If you mix in some floating shelves and maybe a decorative hood, you know, you can get that designer look for less. You don't have to spend a fortune all the time to just, you know, people want something different and original. Like they want to know that it, you know, it's got to feel and look
fresh.
right and it's new. Yeah.
That's actually a huge thing I see from a finance perspective, right? People go in with a budget and an idea, and I talk to them 6 or 8 months later, checking in on their project, and they've completely blown it out of the water. And so much of it is construction and or design. So I think that it's important for everyone to know that it's okay to stick with the basics as long as you have a basis of understanding of what that style point is and what that budget point is. And so give us an idea of again, why you would use like your hardwood floor against a luxury vinyl.
Well, luxury vinyl's great if you're on a budget because you can find that at Home Depot or your local flooring store for under $2 a square foot for sure.
Okay.
Installed, it goes down really easy. If it's a rental property, it's great because it doesn't scratch, it's waterproof. You don't have to think about it as an owner going forward, having to change it. But if you're going into, you know, a little bit nicer home, people are, you know, they're gonna kind of want the real deal, like the feel of the natural real wood.
Yeah.
You know, and that's gonna run starting around $5 a square foot all the way up. But there's no reason to spend a whole lot more than that if this is something you intend to sell, because a lot of people don't really know the difference between $5-6 a square foot and $15 a square foot. So there's a lot of flooring needed, you know, and so that, you know, saving $1 or $2 a square foot here and there on flooring makes a really big difference. And we usually carry that all the way through the home, even into the bedrooms most times, except for the bathrooms, which will be tile, but that also helps the space feel bigger and flow better.
Do you feel that it's best to remain unemotional about your investment property from a design standpoint?
As much as possible. I think not to the point where you're giving the home like no personality at all.
Right.
But yeah, you've got to be a little unemotionally attached to your decision making. Not doing what you want, but doing what you know will sell.
What do you think is the key rooms that are selling a home? Do you still feel like it's kitchen, bathrooms?
Kitchens, for sure.
Yeah.
Kitchen's number one. And then just that great room, if you can get to that point where it's just more of an open footprint, people really want that. People don't want like rooms they don't use necessarily. It's been interesting now, like with COVID, how people are like their usage of the home, like they're there more. And so things are, you know, you need a homework area, you need like, you know, multi-use spaces. And then around here, it's the outdoor spaces really matter too, because that can make it feel so much bigger. You know, it can live like an 1,800 square foot home can live like a 3,000 square foot home if you do the outside right.
I could attest to that. I just redid my backyard and 100% my house feels different. I mean, I feel like I have expanded living space versus being stuck in the confines of my gross living space interior wise, right? What else is great about what you just said is living is changing because of COVID. I mean, the way we conduct ourselves as families is changing because of COVID, to your point. How many people are you seeing are actually adding on the home office that's doubling as potentially a guest room or a home office? And what do you do in that space from a design standpoint?
From flipping perspective, it's just a matter of staging it properly so that people can envision how you would use that extra room and not just setting it up as, you know, just boring. A bedroom, which people, you know, they can imagine. But yeah, setting it up as a multi-use with like a pull-out sleeper sofa or a Murphy bed or something. And then you can take up a whole wall and put 2 chairs and a long desk and there you go. And then in the one in La Jolla that we did where we had like this little extra, it was only like 30 inches and it was like 20 inches deep and it was like the back end of a closet in the laundry room, but we carved that space out and made like a little desk space, like a little homework station. So it's just a matter of like using every inch in the home and thinking about creative ways that you could use that space.
Usable space is is huge. Using every inch is huge,
And
right?
storage is huge.
It's so huge.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, because especially in a smaller space, right? Because you don't want to see the clutter. You don't want to feel the clutter. It makes your space feel smaller. I've never felt so closed in during this whole thing. I mean, I have 2 children, and so they're at home online, right? And I am running my business both in the office and at home, right? So in that, I feel like we're all closed in. I mean, we're all at each other. So, you know, pushing out the space, making better use of our space. We've decluttered, like, in this whole process. It's kind of been an interesting experience for us as a family. I'm sure many families out there feel the same. So how important do you think staging is?
I think it's essential. I think it needs to be in the budget from day one. I mean, that fluctuates depending on how the market is going, but no matter what, I feel like you're gonna sell it faster and for top dollar if you can allocate some of your budget for staging. Just, it's gonna feel better. It's gonna like give people, you know, the sense of like, I want this lifestyle, you know, because you're selling lifestyle. You're not just selling a home with 4 walls and.
Right, they have to visualize themselves being there. In the space.
And that helps. And a lot of times when people see our finished products, it's like, yeah, the kitchen is beautiful and the bathrooms are stunning.
Right.
But it's all those finishing touches that really, you know, just finish it off. And when people see that, it's that emotional pull that you're going for, like the second they walk in the door.
Right.
I don't know how to do that without staging.
What are some of the staple things that you would do to stage a home for somebody? Obviously, there's varying degrees of homes, right? From high-end luxury to, you know, a studio, right? Or a penthouse. So are there do's and don'ts to staging? Are you better suited just hiring somebody, like you said, putting that in the budget to hire somebody with the expertise like Simply Stunning? What do you suggest? I mean, obviously you agree with having a professional behind you, but are there do's and don'ts to staging a property?
I think hire a professional if this is your first rodeo for sure. They've got the inventory, the experience, and they can just, you know, help get it done right. It saves you time too. So really every room matters, and even the outside, you know, just giving people the real vision for behind what life could be like in this new beautiful home.
So let's say this isn't flips at all, even though that's my space, right? Let's say somebody is moving out of their primary residence, right? But they don't have their furniture moved out. Can you stage an existing home with existing?
We do consultations for that all the time. The number one thing is declutter.
Right.
So basically get rid of all your personal belongings. I'm sure it's not the first time people have heard that, but it's really like, it can be a lot, you know? So it's like, you've lived in this home for how many years? Like, you got stuff. And it's hard actually when you've lived there so long to imagine like how beautiful your home could be if you just got rid of all the stuff that's there. So clearing space, only having the necessities if you're trying to live in the home and sell it. So just getting that out of there, and then, you know, sometimes just a new rug and some throw pillows, some candles and fresh flowers, and big statement piece of artwork above the sofa, you know, mirrors to make it feel bigger. Lighting is important, just little things like that. How and imagine living in a staged home.
How do you feel about personal pictures on walls?
Those have to go.
They gotta go.
Yeah, because you want people to imagine themselves in the home.
Okay. But personal art?
Depends.
On the piece.
No family photos on the wall, but I mean, we want high impact pieces because, you know.
I know you have a few different websites, depending on what people are seeking, but you have a fairly newer one, and it's called
Instant Dream Home. You can also get there from our main website, which is Simply Stunning Spaces. Okay. But with Instant Dream Home, it's a paint by numbers like course on interior design. So especially if this is your first time doing it and you're trying to DIY either your own home or your flip or whatever, we take you through you know, all the different modules on how to pick out your finishes, like educating you on all the various different options so that you're at least educated when you go to make your decision making, and then we kind of have a blueprint to follow to get you from where you are to where you're trying to go.
That's awesome. Does it include pictures and stuff like that?
It's all videos, worksheets.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So it really is like a training, a mini training session.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I need to go on that.
You should.
Why haven't I been on
I don't know.
I remember our first transaction. seeing the finished product. It was great. I'm sure you learned stuff even as a designer.
Yeah.
You started Simply Stunning. Has it always been stunning?
No, not at all. Yeah, there's been a lot of phases to my business. I mean, like I said, right out of college, I was so eager. I wanted to start my own business. Got my first client and had no idea how to charge them.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I just spent 4 years in college to learn how to design, but I don't know how to make any money with this. So I went to go work with someone for a little while and then, had that bug again to just do my own thing. And so, yeah, I moved here. I had a string of like really good luck. I got, one amazing client and then I did like a Groupon deal and all of a sudden I had 79 clients overnight. So that kind of launched my business, which was pretty awesome. And, we just kind of slowly built it up along the years and just taking on bigger, more fun projects. We get to kind of pick and choose now, that
Nice.
is fun.
It's interesting that you ran a Groupon, for instance, because my first thought is, how do you separate feeling like it cheapens your work versus the fine line of, I just need to gain clients or market share, and then show people, right? Like, where is the separation between not diminishing your value and building your network?
I think you have to stand out, like the world is just full of, people trying to sell you stuff and this and that. And like, for me, I started in like 2010. Yeah, it was just like the worst time I could move to a new city.
Yeah, right. During
start
the
a business in the luxury market. I'm like, people are like, are you crazy? Like, you literally know no one. Who are you to like start an interior design company in a city you don't know in a bad economy? And I'm like, there's gotta be a way. So like, I thought creative, seriously, like who's gonna hire me? Like, who's got the money to hire a designer right now? Like, I mean, luxury people did, but I'm brand new. So I had to appeal to like the affordable interior design solution. And so we started with like a design in a box. So I had this brilliant idea that I could give people a 3D rendering of what their home would look like and give them every single thing they needed to implement that design. And
wow,
so
that's great.
It really worked. And so there was plenty of, people that normally wouldn't think that they could afford an interior designer.
Yeah.
But then, and 10 years ago, that was like a new thing, and now there's all these great websites that'll do that for you too. And, but there's still a niche obviously for what I do now, which is, more of a one-on-one. And we take you from concept to completion with design and build and staging.
Yeah.
Everything.
That right there kind of defines for me how I have navigated through business, in that it starts with one client, right? And that client may not be your forever client. It may not even look like your vision to your future or even a spot in the path to your future. But it's interesting how you said, you started this design in the box. It blew up. Now, like, there's all these different solves for that, right? Or affordable design. So how do you consistently pivot and create a new you to stay relevant, but to stay top of mind for whatever your target market share is, like high-end luxury?
Yeah, I think one thing this year has taught all of us is you got to be a little flexible, especially in business. You have to be able to pivot and not just get so stuck in your ways and thinking this worked 10 years ago and it's still going to work today.
Right.
Well, maybe not. And just being open-minded and staying on top of what's going on and like how, thinking creatively, how to seeing opportunity and being able to see how you can fit and mold yourself into, current opportunities.
What's relevant.
Yeah. I've had to be a little flexible for sure.
Yeah. How has COVID affected design, since, you have a mixed bag of people, I'm sure, that want you in their home, don't want you in their home?
Yeah, the beginning was crazy.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, okay, halt everything. I cannot have anyone in my home. Totally understandable. We were like freaking out a little bit for like everyone. But now I think when people were in, we've all been in our homes so much, like we are just booming, like it's crazy. Like people are like, I need to fix this now. You can't look at this any longer.
I've been staring at these walls and they're driving me crazy. Even if it didn't need work, it needs work now, you know?
Yeah. And
It's so true.
some people just happen to have like more time now that,
Yeah.
you know, but so yeah, no.
So you're
it's
busy.
And you know, like the market out here is crazy right now. So there's just a lot of transactions, a lot of people moving. And so that keeps us busy.
Yeah. I feel like every construction company, any home improvement, anything is just flooded.
Yeah.
Like can't keep up, turning away jobs. How are you managing the flow right now? Do you have a team? Do you outsource projects? I mean, I would want to know that as the owner of a property. Are you personally handling these projects or do you outsource?
Yeah, I have a great team. We're a small firm, so we don't take on more than we can handle. And it's really just a matter of, you know, scheduling. Everything's always like with us, it's at different phases.
Right.
Time management, I think when you are a business owner, is just everything, and project management tools that can help with that.
If somebody wanted to come into you, let's talk just kind of, I know you are multifaceted in your design, from flooring to basic, draw up your sketches and create the idea for a client, to your instant dream home, to the high-end luxury just finishes. So tell me all of the facets of Simply Stunning. I know you have a multitude, so let's talk through that.
Yeah, well, everybody goes through phases, so we're a tiered, you know, service model. So everybody starts with, like, if you're local to San Diego, a virtual consultation. So we give you 30 minutes of our time just virtually to kind of walk through your home, talk about your project and your needs. And it's just an opportunity to see if we're a fit. And then if we are, we'll move into like an in-home consultation for a couple hours, or that's usually when we're documenting the space, really walking through. And then we do our design services package, where you get like your full 3D renderings, all the finished samples, all the technical drawings that are going to be needed to take this remodel from concept to completion. And then we handle everything on the construction side, all the way down to furniture and window treatments.
I didn't know that you did the construction part.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have a design team and construction team that works seamlessly.
In tandem. But I mean, do you know the contractors, or you're saying the person, the homeowner, would be responsible for their GC and then working together with you?
Usually that's why they're wanting to go with us, because they know that we have a trusted team behind us that we work with all the time. We're in sync together. So it just kind of, it's just like a consistent team. Yeah, and you're not, I mean, I have worked with other homeowners, contractors. Yeah. It's just obviously when you work with someone that you work with all the time, things are just easier for everyone.
I just worked with a group of contractors, and it's not always the most fun task, keeping them on task. So it's like managing my children's homeschooling. Yeah,
our clients don't want to play project manager.
No. I mean, I thought I'd be okay with it with my experience in having to manage a team, but it was daunting. It was.
And then there's 1,001 questions they're going to ask you.
1,001.
Even after having like a full-on design plan, there's always like little things that you're going to have to be on site for. Like, you know, there's a lot of details. It's all about details when it comes to design and remodeling.
100%, I agree. So it helps to have the right professionals in place is really, you know, the key there. So if somebody wanted to get in contact with you, what's the best way to contact you?
You can go to our website, or you can email Darcy, D-A-R-C-Y, at simplystunningspaces.com.
And do you have anything that you want everyone to know about you and Simply Stunning?
We love what we do.
That's awesome. Well, I hope so.
And I mean, clients are always first. I think, you know, a lot of people are intimidated hiring an interior designer because, you know, it's their home, and it's a big decision when you hire an interior designer, because you gotta like them, number one. Like, they're gonna be in your home.
It's intimate.
You gotta trust them. You get intimate. So I think, you know, and just something I've always said is that, you know, this is your home. It's my job to make sure it feels like home for you. So it's like, we have this great process that we take our clients through to just kind of ask all the right questions and get a feeling for their style and things that appeal to them. And then it's our job to kind of sort through all those ideas and then put a plan together in place that fits their budget, their lifestyle, and just gives them a great finished product.
Yeah.
And we love it. And it's never boring because every project's always so different because every client is different.
Right. Client and home, right?
Every client is different. Every home is different.
For sure. Do you just do residential or do you do commercial space also?
We're like 85% residential. We
Yeah.
get some commercial projects, but
Not as fun, huh?
residential's, I mean, I love it all.
Yeah.
Really, design is design. You can
Yeah.
have fun with commercial too, but no, mostly residential.
Thanks, Darcy, for hanging out and sharing with the viewers some really great design tips. If somebody wants to reach out to you and get these design tips for their project, how would they do that?
Simple, go to simplystunningspaces.com. If you want to take our course I mentioned, instantdreamhome.com.
Thanks again for hanging out. I appreciate you so much.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thanks everyone for tuning into the Rommel Report again. I hope that you found value listening to this beautiful girl talking about beautiful spaces. Hope to hear from you or see you next time. Talk to you soon.